What up, y'all? Welcome back to the video. And today we're gonna be talking about a little bit of story time, okay? How I escaped the 9-to-5 trap, okay? Also, I was gonna button my shirt and then I saw this and the chain coming through with the chest out and I was like, you know what? It looks kind of sick. Let me just roll with that. So basically, I went to a 4-year university, graduated with a degree, a very great degree, went to business school, had a major in finance. And so the whole time I was being bred, as you could say, I was being brought up to like, okay, we're gonna go to get an internship and then you're gonna roll it into this corporate job. And it was just like this perfect, it's just like college was breeding me and raising me, and you know, that was the way to go. And during that time I had some friction. So basically what I did when I was graduating college, as everybody was like aggressively doing like good internships, applying for jobs, doing all this stuff, I was just like, fuck that. I don't know why, but I'm just not gonna do it. Like I put like zero effort into it. So then I graduated college, and in that summer, I decided that I was going to get a job, just secure a job just as like a backup. If I don't figure out anything else, I'll just, you know, I'll do this. And actually at the time, what I was doing for money, barely any money, mind you. I had a friend that started an online coaching company, and I was basically a sales rep for him. No experience at all, making very little amount of money. So I secured this job. It was with a big financial company, and it was like a very shitty job. I put very little effort into it. It was gonna be like, I wouldn't say like very shitty, okay, but like for compared to all my peers, it was like $40K a year salary, not a great position, right? Supposed to start in September, I think, September 1st. August 1st, a month before, I said, you know what? F that, I'm not gonna do it. Basically what had happened is I was introduced through this girl that I knew from college, a mutual friend who was traveling with this guy. And this guy was basically, shout out Ted, this guy was seemingly living the life. He had like 100,000 followers on Instagram, like travel photos, being in Bali, going around. And I was just like, holy shit, like I wanna do that. Fuck sitting in an office. Like, fuck corporate America. I was like, I want to travel the world and be a sick fuck and do cool stuff and online business and whatever else, right? Whatever it was gonna take. And so basically I reached out to this girl and I was like, hey, who is this guy that you're with? And she was like, oh, like his name's Ted, like he's great. I think you guys would totally jive. Like, do you want me to introduce you? And I was like, of course, like please connect us. Long story short, I ended up going and meeting up with this guy because he had a cabin in Washington. I'm from Washington. And so we ended up meeting up in person. He was like, I'm starting this fitness company from the ground up. I need somebody to help me with like social media, kind of like some video, photography stuff. I was messing around with cameras and photography and videography, stuff like that at the time. So I had a little bit of experience. And he was basically just like, look, here's the deal. There's no revenue in the company. It's brand new. I'm starting it from the ground up. It's gonna be a fitness company, and I can't afford to pay you right now, but I will cover your travel and I'll pay for like your food. He said, I travel full time. I will cover your airfare. You can come travel and like live with me in like hotels and Airbnbs, like through like Mexico and San Diego and like some other places. And you just like kind of work for me for free or whatever, and I'll kind of like mentor you. And I was just like, okay, fuck yeah, like that sounds dope. Like I'm super down. Basically did that for a year. Not gonna get super into the weeds, but we didn't really have the skill sets or like what we needed to be able to like make that venture successful. So I ended up basically leaving. I was completely broke at this time, had basically no money at all, was buying like the cheapest foods. This was the era where like I was going to Walmart to buy a 60 count of eggs, like the cheapest eggs you could find in this box were like 60 white eggs for like $11, like just to save money. And then basically I was working at a co-working space at the time. It was a WeWork, and I found this, well, it was not like I just saw this like team, this small startup, which had like super high energy. Like it gave me like Jordan Belfort vibes, like way less cocaine and hookers, way more Jesus, but still like high energy, sales, meetings, people clapping, cheering. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on with this? Like, what the hell is going on with this team? What's going on here? And so as things basically started to like go south with you know, the fitness company thing that I was doing, and I like got introduced to these guys, I started talking to them and they were just like, we're crushing it. We're selling a coaching program where we teach people how to start their own Airbnb business. And I basically like quit what I was currently doing, walked up to the team the next day and was just like, are you guys hiring for sales? And they were like, yep. And I was like, I want a job. Like, put me on right now. Like, I'll crush it. I want to get good at sales. And they basically hired me on the spot. And then I went on to absolutely crush it in that company. And it was one of those opportunities that was like, I kind of hit like right on like the upslope as things were getting dialed in. They're starting to make more money. So I was able to make like really, really good money there. And it was a phenomenal opportunity, but that's kind of my story. There's some stuff after that as a part of my story, but what I'll basically say from there is that because I did that, because I took chances, because I was willing to not sign up for the classic, like here's your benefits and salary and 401k contribution, whatever, I ended up having some like really cool, unique experiences. I got to like travel and like live in luxury in Mexico for like months and like do all this cool stuff and meet a bunch of entrepreneurs. And like, it was a really cool experience. And then through that, just randomly meeting this team, I was able to make like significantly more money than any of my peers, like by a landslide, to the point where like I just started telling all my friends, like I wasn't just like bragging about how much money I was making, but I was just like, they knew like kind of, and we had some conversations. They're like how much money are you making? And I would like tell them, and like they all basically just quit all their jobs and like came and worked for us. And so I put a bunch of the homies on as well. So that was a great experience. And then through that, I basically just been in what's called a high ticket sales space since then, which is basically just being a 1099, 100% commission sales rep for different like online coaching and like online digital product companies. So no benefits, very run and gun, kind of make your own schedule. You can like kind of travel around. It's fully remote. So that's kind of like my story of how I've been able to do that. And there's been tons of ups and downs. And if I like look back, it's like, if I was just talking financially, security wise, like maybe it could have been better to go the corporate route, but I've just like learned so much. I've had such a unique experience and opportunity doing what I'm doing. And I'm like willing to take the risk while I'm young, while I have no responsibilities, while I have like no dependents. So that's kind of what I've done. So if you have questions like about that, let me know. I'll probably make some more videos here soon about like just my experience in high ticket sales in general. So if you're more curious about that, or you want to kind of learn what I've done, like just drop a comment, let me know. And ultimately I'm going to wrap this up by saying like, I don't necessarily think that like being in a 9-to-5 is bad, that everybody needs to like escape it or whatever. I think actually having a 9-to-5 job where you work for like a big company can be like super, super beneficial. I think there's a time and a place for sure. I think the biggest thing is like just being capped on like salary and commission, like how much you can actually make. So that's kind of that there. But yeah, join the conversation down below. Let me know if you have any questions, thoughts on this, interesting, curious, want to learn more about my story, don't give a shit at all about my story. Either way, let me know. Appreciate you watching. Cheers.